Me 26 years old, working a dead-end data entry job from my small apartment. Life is not exactly glamorous, but it is mine. My dad, Richard, is the center of my world. He is 62, a lifelong mechanic at a local dealership, an honest-to-goodness good man, worked his fingers to the bone to give me a life better than his, put me through a decent community college. Always there with a joke, a piece of advice, or just a quiet presence that made everything feel all right. He is old school, believes in hard work, a firm handshake, and that there are two genders. This last part is important. My dad's dealership gets bought out by a larger national chain. Corporate swoops in, all smiles and clipboards. They start implementing a bunch of new policies. Sensitivity training, mandatory pronoun circles, the whole 9 yards. My dad, being my dad, just keeps his head down and fixes cars. He is good at his job, the best they have. He can diagnose an engine knock just by listening to it over the phone. The new management knows this, so they mostly leave him alone. Enter Heather. She is the new regional human resources manager. In her late 20s, fresh out of some expensive university with a degree in gender studies and a permanent look of righteous indignation. She has bright pink hair, a nose ring, and a lanyard covered in pins with slogans I do not understand. Heather decides the dealership needs a cultural overhaul. She starts with the break room, puts up posters with dozens of different flags, sends out weekly emails about microaggressions and inclusive language. My dad and his work buddies, most of them guys who have been turning wrenches for 30 plus years, just ignore it. They are there to work, not to debate social theory. They eat their sandwiches, talk about sports, and go back to the garage. This, apparently, is a problem for Heather. She sees their quiet indifference as a form of rebellion. One day, during a mandatory lunch and learn session on diversity and inclusion, Heather is explaining the gender spectrum. She has a PowerPoint presentation with charts and graphs. My dad is in the back trying to discreetly eat his tuna salad sandwich. Heather asks if anyone has any questions. Silence. Everyone just wants to get back to work. She then decides to single someone out. Her eyes land on my dad. Richard, she says, her voice dripping with condescending sweetness. You have been very quiet. What are your thoughts on gender fluidity? My dad, a man of few words, just shrugs. Ma'am, with all due respect, I just fix cars. I do not have many thoughts on it. Heather's smile tightens. Well, in this inclusive workspace, we value everyone's input. It is important we all understand and respect each other's identities. She keeps prodding him. Finally, my dad sighs, puts down his sandwich, and says the words that would change our lives forever. Look, I am a simple guy. I believe there are two genders, male and female. I do not mean any harm by it, that is just what I believe. I treat everyone with respect regardless. The room goes silent, you could hear a pin drop. Heather's face turns a shade of red that clashes with her pink hair. That is a very problematic and harmful viewpoint, Richard, she says, her voice shaking with barely suppressed rage. It is transphobic and invalidates the lived experiences of many of our colleagues. My dad, bless his heart, just looks confused. I did not mean to invalidate anyone. She asked what I believed. The meeting is abruptly ended. My dad is told to report to the general manager's office. He is fired just like that after 35 years of loyal service. The official reason is creating a hostile work environment and violating the company's diversity and inclusion policy. He is escorted off the premises like a criminal. He calls me from his truck in the parking lot. I have never heard him sound so defeated. They fired me, kiddo. My blood runs cold. The fallout is immediate. My dad loses his pension, which was just a few years from vesting. He loses his health insurance. This is the big one. My dad has a heart condition. He has had it for years, but it is managed with medication, expensive medication. Without insurance, the cost is astronomical. He tries to find another job. But at 62, with his only experience being as a mechanic at a place that just fired him for a hostile attitude, no one will hire him. Ageism is real, but this is something else. The story gets around our small town. Heather, in her infinite wisdom, had sent a company-wide email about the incident, framing my dad as some kind of hateful bigot to make an example out of him. Some people believe it. Old friends cross the street to avoid him. I do everything I can. I take on extra shifts at my soul-crushing job. I start delivering food at night. I sell my old car, but it is not enough. We are burning through my dad's meager savings just to pay for his prescriptions. We have to choose between his heart medication and fixing the leaky roof. The roof wins. My dad insists. He would rather have a heart attack than see me living in a damp house. His health starts to decline. Without the proper dosage of his medication, his blood pressure skyrockets. He gets tired easily. The light in his eyes starts to dim. He spends his days sitting in his old armchair watching daytime television, a shell of the vibrant man he once was. He is not just unemployed, he is broken. His sense of purpose, his identity was tied to his work. Heather took that from him. I become consumed by a white-hot rage. I stalk Heather's social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Her life is a highlight reel of progressive activism. Photos from protests, selfies with local politicians, posts about smashing the patriarchy and decolonizing wellness. She lives in a trendy downtown apartment, eats at expensive vegan restaurants and vacations in Bali, all while my dad is rationing his pills. I see a picture of her with her cat, a fluffy Persian. The caption reads, "My fur baby Persephone, the only male I need in my life. Number feminist, number cat mom, I want to scream." One night my dad has a bad turn. He wakes up clutching his chest, struggling to breathe. I call an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor tells me he has had a major cardiac event. They managed to stabilize him, but the damage is done. His heart is significantly weaker. The doctor is blunt. His medication is not optional. He needs to be taking the full prescribed dose. Why wasn't he? I try to explain, my voice cracking. The cost, the insurance, the job. The doctor just looks at me with a mixture of pity and frustration. I understand. But without proper care, he is not going to last long. My dad is in the hospital for a week. The bill is terrifying. I start a GoFundMe. I pour my heart out, telling the whole story. About my dad, his job, Heather, the firing. I do not use her real name, but the details are specific. It gets some traction locally. People from the dealership who knew my dad and were afraid to speak up start donating anonymously. They send me messages of support, telling me my dad was a great guy and got a raw deal. We raise a few $1,000s. It is a drop in the bucket compared to the hospital bills, but it is something. It gives me a glimmer of hope. Then Heather finds it. She launches a counter-campaign. She posts on her social media that a disgruntled former employee is spreading hateful lies to fund his bigoted agenda. She claims my dad was a known harasser and that she was protecting marginalized employees. She has a platform, she has a network of online activists. They descend on my GoFundMe page like a swarm of locusts, mass reporting it for hate speech. GoFundMe freezes the account and launches an investigation. The money is locked up. We cannot access it. That is when I snap. My anger turns from a burning fire into a cold, hard diamond in my chest. I realize that playing by the rules is not going to work. The system is rigged by people like Heather. They control the narrative. So I decide to change the game. I start digging, not just her social media. I go deeper. I use every trick I know, every sketchy corner of the internet I can find. I look into her past, her education, her previous jobs. For weeks, it is a dead end. Her online persona is meticulously curated. But everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has a skeleton in their closet. I find it. It is buried in an old college forum from 10 years ago, a thread about a campus controversy. A male student had been accused of academic misconduct, cheating on a major paper. The evidence was flimsy, circumstantial, but the accusation was amplified by a campus feminist group. They organized protests, demanded his expulsion. The leader of that group, the one who wrote the most inflammatory posts, the one who doxed the accused student and his family, Heather, the male student was from a wealthy family. They threatened to sue the university for defamation. The university quietly settled. The student transferred to another school. Heather was forced to issue a public apology for her overzealous tactics and for spreading unsubstantiated rumors. The post is still there, a digital ghost. In it, she admits to fabricating parts of the story to make the accusations seem more credible. She called it righteous amplification. I take screenshots of everything. The forum posts her apology, news articles about the settlement. I have her. My dad comes home from the hospital. He is a changed man, frail, quiet. He needs a walker to get around the small apartment we now share after selling his house to pay the initial hospital bills. He sits by the window watching the world go by. He apologizes to me. I am sorry, kiddo. I messed everything up for you. I hold his hand, my heart breaking. You did nothing wrong, Dad. You told the truth. He just shakes his head. I put my plan into motion. I create an anonymous email account and a burner Twitter profile. I carefully compile all the information I found about Heather. The screenshots, the links, a detailed write-up of the incident. I send it to everyone. The national headquarters of the dealership chain, their board of directors, local and national news outlets, conservative and liberal media. I do not care. I want maximum exposure. I send it to every major influencer in the cancel culture debate space. Then I post it on Twitter, tagging everyone I emailed. And then I wait. It takes 48 hours. The first to bite is a small, local conservative blogger. He writes a scathing piece about corporate hypocrisy. It gets picked up by a larger outlet. Then a national news network mentions it. Suddenly, it is everywhere. Number Heather the Hypocrite starts trending. The story is perfect. It has a villain, a victim, and a smoking gun. The dealership chain is thrown into damage control mode. Their stock price takes a small but noticeable dip. Sponsors start asking questions. Heather deletes her social media, but it is too late. Everything is archived. Her carefully crafted world of righteous activism comes crashing down. The company that employed her, the one she used to ruin my father, releases a statement. They announce that Heather has been terminated, effective immediately. They say her actions regarding my father are under internal review and that they are reevaluating their HR policies. They unfreeze the GoFundMe and, in a move of pure corporate ass covering, make a large donation to it themselves. It is a victory, but it feels hollow. It does not fix my dad. The money helps with the bills, but it cannot restore his health or his spirit. He sees the news. He sees that Heather was fired. He just nods slowly. An eye for an eye, he whispers. It does not make anything right. He is right. Revenge is not the answer, but it is a start. A few weeks later, I get a call. It is from a lawyer, a big-shot lawyer from a major firm. He saw the story. He wants to represent my dad, pro bono. He thinks we have a massive case for wrongful termination, age discrimination, and defamation of character. He says what the company did was not just immoral, it was illegal. I talk to my dad. At first he refuses. He is tired of fighting. I just want peace, son, I tell him. This is not just for you, Dad. It is for everyone they might do this to in the future. You have to fight. Let me fight for you. He looks at me, and for the first time in months, I see a flicker of the old fire in his eyes. He agrees. The lawsuit is a long, grueling process. Depositions, hearings, endless paperwork. The dealership's lawyers are ruthless. They try to paint my dad as a senile, hateful old man. They dig into my life looking for any dirt they can find, but we have the truth on our side, and we have a damn good lawyer. He dismantles them. He shows the court the company's history of age-related firings since the buyout. He brings in other mechanics from the dealership who testify under oath about Heather's aggressive and unprofessional behavior. He presents the evidence of her past, her history of righteous amplification. The company's case crumbles. On the day of the settlement hearing, my dad is too weak to go. His doctor has advised him to stay home. I go alone with our lawyer. The company offers a settlement. It is a huge number, enough to cover all our debts, my dad's future medical care, and more. Enough that I will never have to work another data entry job again. But it comes with a condition, a non-disclosure agreement. We can never speak publicly about the case or what happened. They want to bury the story. Our lawyer advises me to take it. He says it is the best we are going to get without a long, uncertain trial. I think about it. I think about Heather, wherever she is, probably already failing upwards into another HR job at some other woke corporation. I think about the system that allows people like her to destroy lives with impunity. And I think about my dad sitting at home fading away. I tell the lawyer no, he is stunned. The corporate lawyers are shocked. We want a public apology, I say. A full public apology to my father, published in every major newspaper in the country. And we want the company to fund a program for retraining older workers who have been unfairly terminated. I add one more thing. And I want to see Heather's face when she reads it. This is a bluff, of course. I have no idea where she is. The corporate lawyers scoff. They say it is impossible, my lawyer argues. He says the publicity of a trial would be far more damaging to their brand than our demands. They huddle, they make calls, hours pass. Finally, they come back, they agree to everything. I go home and tell my dad. I read him the terms of the settlement. When I get to the part about the public apology, he starts to cry, not sad tears, tears of vindication. You did good, son, he says, his voice thick with emotion. You did real good. The apology is published a week later. It is on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post. It names my dad, Richard, and praises his years of service. It admits his termination was a grievous error based on a misapplication of company policy. It announces the creation of the Richard Scholarship for experienced workers. It is a complete and total victory. My dad keeps a copy of the newspaper article on his bedside table. He reads it every day. His health does not miraculously recover. The damage to his heart is permanent, but his spirit starts to heal. The shame is gone. He starts smiling again. He tells his old, terrible jokes. We spend our days together. We watch old movies. We listen to his favorite music. We talk for hours. We talk about everything. My childhood, his life, the mistakes we both made, the things we were proud of. The money from the settlement means I do not have to work. I can just be with him. It is the most precious gift I have ever been given. A few months later, I am sitting by his bed. He is asleep, his breathing shallow. His hand is in mine. The newspaper is on the table next to him. I get a notification on my phone. It is a Google alert I had set up for Heather's name, a relic of my obsessive days. I had forgotten all about it. It is a link to a small, local news article from a town in another state. Local woman arrested for vandalism at pet store. I click on it. The mugshot is grainy, but it is her. Pink hair faded, nose ring gone. She looks haggard. She had a breakdown, apparently. Went into a PetSmart and started screaming at a family buying a male kitten. Something about patriarchal pet ownership. She threw a bag of catnip at the store manager and was arrested. It is a pathetic, sad end to her story. I feel a brief flash of something. Not pity, not satisfaction, just nothing. She is irrelevant. Her power was an illusion, and now it is gone. She destroyed her own life far more effectively than I ever could have. I look at my dad. He is stirring, his eyes open, and he looks at me. He smiles, a faint, weak smile. Hey, kiddo, he whispers. Hey, Dad, I say, my voice thick. He squeezes my hand. I am proud of you. He closes his eyes. His breathing slows and then stops. He dies peacefully, holding my hand. He dies with his dignity restored. He dies knowing he was right and that the world knew it too. He dies a man vindicated. The story has a strange postscript. The fund for retrained workers, the one named after my dad, becomes a huge success. It helps hundreds of older men and women find new careers, new purpose. I get involved, helping to manage it. I find I am good at it. I find a new purpose for myself. I share my dad's story with the people we help, not the story of his death, but the story of his life. A story of quiet integrity, of standing by your beliefs, of a simple man who refused to be broken by a world that had gone mad. His legacy is not one of bitterness or revenge. It is one of hope and second chances. In the end, the feminist HR woman who tried to destroy my father did not just watch him die alone. She inadvertently made him a legend. And in doing so, she gave my life a meaning I never could have found on my own. And for that, in the strangest way possible, I am grateful.